everybody, welcome to a fistful of dice on the road. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. I've kind of got the camera at a weird angle right now. It's kind of balanced precariously, so hopefully it doesn't fall over. But I've had a few videos that I've been wanting to do, just stuff that's been on my mind that I haven't had a chance to film just because I've been busy with work and stuff. But I commute about 3 hours a day minimum, about an hour and a half up, usually about 2 hours back, sometimes as much as 2.5 hours back. So I've got all this time where I just sit in my car and usually just listen to music or whatever and sit in traffic like I'm doing right now. But since I've got this time, I might as well make some videos. So yeah, and people won't think I'm crazy. They'll just think I'm talking on my phone or something like that. So, well, they might still, but whatever. In any case, I've got some cool stuff coming down the pipe. I've actually filmed a few videos in the last month that I haven't put up because I haven't been happy with them. But I'm gonna do my next video, like quality video that I want to put out for you guys, is the first episode of Dungeon Delves, which is it's gonna be kind of like Monster Matters, but it's gonna be more focused on the dungeons themselves and different features that you can have in different kinds of dungeons. So the first episode will be mines, so like abandoned mines, mine shafts, you know, things like dwarven mines, things like that. Ideas for you to use for mines as dungeons and things that you can populate it with and stuff like that. So that should be pretty cool. And then I also want to do the next episode of Monster Matters, which is going to be on Fae. So, and a few other videos in there. But yeah, so those will be coming down the pipe here pretty soon. I just need to find the time to do them. So in the meantime, you guys are going to be getting some Matt's commute videos where I just kind of, muse about different things that I've been thinking about. So this video, as you'll see by the title, is about playing D&D, playing tabletop for yourself and not for anybody else. So this is something I've been thinking about lately, and it's something that I've seen before in my various gaming groups, and that is a misplaced priority in terms of what you're coming to the table for. And a lot of new players fall into this trap, but honestly a lot of veteran players do as well, because they feel like they need to show off a little bit. So when you're coming to the table with a character, and let's set up a scenario here. So you're in a game group, you've been with the game group for a while, you know the players, and you're all making new characters. You're starting a new campaign, everyone's creating new characters. And you start thinking about your character concept, and the first thing you think of is, what is everyone else going to think about this character? Or how can I make this character as cool as possible so people are just like totally wowed by them? And I think that's a mistake. I think if you're creating a character to impress other people in the group, or you have a concept in mind that is solely based on I'm just gonna people are just gonna be so impressed with my character or whatever, then I think that's an issue. And here's why. Because first off, I want you to think about the last time you were impressed by someone's character. And I doubt it had anything to do with their build or concept. I'm guessing it was probably something that the player themselves did, a cool roleplay moment or something like that. The fact of the matter is that your character is rarely as cool as you think they are, and I'm guilty of that as well. I'm guilty of creating concepts that I just think are so badass, so awesome, and then I come to the table and all of a sudden I feel like I don't know this character, I don't know what they're about, I don't know what their deal is beyond being a cool character, you know what I mean? A gimmick, if you will. So what I've taken to doing is, instead of thinking, how can I make this character as cool as possible, or I want to make a character that's cool to play, that is a neat character, he's really awesome. He's got a lot, he's got this cool weapon, and he's got this really cool, like, backstory. He just looks totally badass, and, he's got this cool voice. I've got it all worked out. Instead of thinking about that kind of stuff, I've started thinking, I want to make a character that I would like to sit down and have a conversation with. Now, it's not meaning, like, a character I would like, a character that I would be friends with. It's not the same thing. It's more of a character that I could sit down and have a lengthy, in-depth conversation with, and that I would be entertained and interested in. Not somebody who I would be annoyed by, somebody who would rub me the wrong way, but somebody that I would find intriguing. Somebody that I would like to get to know. And that's the mindset that you should have going into a new character. I want to get to know this character. If you're walking into a character concept and you think, I've got this character all figured out, I know what he's about, I know where he comes from, I know what he wants, I've got him all figured out, you're going to get burned out really quick, and you're going to get bored of that character because they're not going to go anywhere. It's going to be really cool when you're, killing stuff and being really awesome, but in terms of long term, you're going to get burned out quick. And granted, character burnout will happen. You'll get sick of your character. That's why I always have like a main character and then a couple of alternates I can play in case I'm getting sick of my main character. But think about who you're coming to the table for and what sort of airs you're putting on for people. If you are coming to the table wanting to impress people, wanting to have people be totally wowed by your skills and how cool your character is, then you're coming at it for the wrong reasons. Role-playing games should be about personal enjoyment, what you take away from the table, whether or not you're having fun and whether or not the group is having fun. Now, don't mistake me here. When I say think about who you're coming to the table for, obviously the group is important. The group dynamic is really important. I'm not saying disregard the needs and the wants of the group. Create a character solely based on what you want to do and not based on what's going to mesh with the group or anything like that. Those sorts of things should come into account. You should think about the group dynamic and what's going to work. And I don't mean that like in a balancy, like, oh, we already have 2 wizards, I shouldn't make a caster character type thing. I mean it more of like I don't think this character's personality would mesh very well with what the group enjoys. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't create a boisterous, flamboyant, loud character, both because I don't enjoy playing that character and also because I don't think it would add to the group dynamic in any way. I think it would take away from it. So I don't mean to say disregard the group. What I mean to say is how people react to your character. Like, it shouldn't be about how cool your character is and how neat they are and how impressive they are. It should be about how interesting they are. Like, people should want to roleplay with your character. Like, they should look forward to interacting with your character. Look forward to getting to know them. And, that goes for yourself with that character and for others. You should want to get to know that character. Part of that process is leaving enough open about the character that they can grow, progress, and develop. And another part of that is having enough to go on. There's a balance there of having enough little tidbits about the character that you know what they're about, but also leaving enough of a blank slate where you can grow into the character. Because, we all know the first few sessions with a new character are tough because you don't know them yet. You don't know what they sound like, really. You don't know what their mannerisms are. You don't know what sort of turns of phrase they have. What are their likes and dislikes. How they handle combat, how they handle conflict. these things come about naturally. You know, I always say there's a reason why actors get rehearsals. You know what I mean? Like, they have to get into character, and some, like, with a D&D character, it's pretty similar. You have to have time to grow into that character, and you have to allow yourself that time to grow into that character. But, so yeah, that's my first point in this video, is just don't come to the table wanting to impress people with your character. Come to the table wanting to interact with other people's characters and have them interact with yours. That's what Dungeons & Dragons is all about. And there's plenty of time for being awesome and being badass and, you know, making awesome, you know, monster kills and stuff like that. I mean, that's a huge part of D&D. I don't want you to misunderstand me here, and that's a big part of it that I enjoy. But in terms of longevity and worthwhileness and memorable characters that stick out, that's what it's about. But all right, I'm going to take this opportunity really quick here, since this is we're only at about 10 minutes here, to talk about what to do with character burnout when you're getting tired of a character. This has happened to me a lot, where I get really tired of a character, and I touched upon this a little bit in my character death video, that response video that I made to Same Old G. But like, what do you do when you're super burned out on a character? You don't feel like playing them anymore. You're getting sick of them. You don't know where they fit in the party. You're not sure what they're adding to the dynamic. They're not growing anymore. You're not, you know, you're gaining levels, you're gaining loot, but you don't feel like the character is growing in any sort of substantial way. I mean, there's a few options. The last option would be dropping the character. Just being done with them. That is an option. But sometimes you can just take a break from the character. You know, give them a few weeks. Talk to your DM. Say, you know, I'm really not feeling this character right now. I'm not enjoying myself as I should. I really want to be able to enjoy this campaign that you've planned to the fullest. So is it okay if I have an alternate character, you know, for a few weeks, for a few sessions, for a couple months here? And most of the time, your DM will be okay with it. And you need to make sure that you know, this character is going to fit in the campaign in a sort of believable way and work in the campaign and all of that. So, you know, talk to your DM about it, see what they think, and go from there. Sometimes it's as simple as that, just taking a break, and then you can come back to the character renewed, refreshed. You know, maybe you picked up some ideas for them, you know, and you're ready to get back to it. But sometimes it takes a little bit more than that. Another thing you can do is reevaluate. Think about when you first started the character, what you wanted them to be. Has it deviated from that concept in a bad way? Now, naturally deviating from your initial character concept is fine, and it's natural, because you sort of get to know the character, and your character sort of tells you what it wants to do at a certain point, you know what I mean, and sort of takes on a life of its own, and they sort of go off on a tangent away from the initial concept, and that's fine. But sometimes they go off from the initial tangent in a bad way, and you sort of realize that, oh, you know, I don't like this character anymore. They've changed a lot, and they're sort of drifting away from what I wanted them to be. Well, then it's a good time to reevaluate and figure out what you want to do with that character. Do you want to try to push them back towards that initial concept? How can you do that? Do you want to push them towards something else? Find something for them to latch onto. A really great example is this guy in my game group named Nick. He's playing a dwarf character named Ulfgar. And And Ulfgar, you know, he started out as a pretty simple character concept. He's you know, your basic boisterous, drunken dwarf. He's lawful good, you know. He's always wanting to do the right thing, but he loves fighting, loves killing evil. He was in exile. He used to be a commander, and he was, you know, stripped of his rank, and he's just kind of trying to be as honorable as he can be with what he's got. Sorry, I hear sirens. I'm just making sure it's not behind me here. But recently, he's sort of reevaluating his place in the world because he encountered a paladin character and was forced to kill this paladin character. It's a long story. Basically, the paladin character was not in the right state of mind and was going to kill us if we didn't do something about it. And this character Ulfgar was forced to deal with it. And so he's sort of looking at the gods in a new way here. And Nick, as a player, has done a good job of steering Ulfgar in that direction. And it's just kind of this little nugget, you know, a role-playing nugget that he saw, and he's latched onto it. And it hasn't like taken over his character. It's not like, oh, I'm going to take levels of cleric and I'm a devout follower of Torm now. It's more of just like, there are things bigger than me in the world. There are things bigger than me in the universe. Like, I want to do right by this paladin that was murdered, or that I had to kill, and you know, do the right thing. And it's less so changing the character and more enhancing what the character's about, because the character has always been lawful good, always been about doing the right thing. But now there's sort of some context around that. You know what I mean? There's some development that has happened within the game that lends a little bit of believability to what he's about as a character. So that's just an example. Another example is a character I'm currently playing. I've talked about him before in a few videos. Vald, who is a druid, swamp druid. When I started him, I sort of set out to make a different kind of druid, one that was, you know, still sticking to the core of the druid class, you know, protecting nature, being one with nature, but sort of deviating from that in that he appreciates the chaos of nature. He's a chaotic, neutral character. He appreciates the chaos, the abnormality, the weirdness of nature, the violence of nature. You know, he's a big believer in survival of the fittest, the strongest, you know, strongest went out type philosophy. Take my gun out here. That's what he sort of started as, but excuse me. When I started this character, I was having a lot of trouble getting into him, figuring out what his personality was and what he wanted out of you know, his adventuring life. And recently in our campaign, we've stumbled upon these crystals that have been corrupting the nearby wilds, you know, making animals insane and corrupting the land, and you know, these really sort of evil demonic things. And I've really latched onto this little story kernel as a character, and it's sort of become his goal right now is dealing with this, investigating this, and you know, and even though he's not 24/7 doing this thing, whenever those little story kernels of these crystals kind of pop up, you know, it really piques his interest, and it's easy to find motivation for him to be able to go do that. And you know, if there's ever a question about what he's doing, you know, I can say, well, you know, maybe I'd like to go talk to this NPC to see if he knows anything about these crystals, or maybe I'd like to go to this other area of the woods and see if there's anything weird going on there, blah, blah, blah. So it's just a matter of reevaluating, and part of that is keeping an eye out for these little, I keep saying nuggets or kernels, but they really are just these little story seeds or in-game seeds that you can really latch onto and nurture for your character to help give them a little bit more life, refresh them a little bit. So, yeah, so that's kind of a weird random video, but I guess I can tie it all together with how to start a character effectively and how to like refresh that character effectively. So I guess it kind of works as a video, right? So yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. I'm gonna be doing a couple more videos this week. One is gonna be an unboxing of the Bestiary Box 2 Pathfinder Pawn set, which shipped yesterday from Paizo's warehouse. I'm very excited about that. I'm gonna do an unboxing of that. And also, I'm going to be doing a video here pretty soon, unboxing some stuff that Dungeon Master Johnny sent me, or is sending me rather, because for those of you who don't know, Dungeon Master Johnny is taking a break from Dungeons and Dragons. He's getting rid of most of his D&D stuff, and he's going to be focusing on miniatures like Warhammer and stuff for a while. He's just getting, it's not his thing anymore right now, and instead of sticking with it and forcing himself to do it, he's bowing out. So yeah, he was getting rid of selling all of his D&D stuff, and I managed to pick up a bunch of maps and stuff from him, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm happy to give his old D&D stuff a good home, so I'm going to be going through that on camera and kind of showing all the stuff that he sent me. So he promised there'd be a few surprises in the box, so we'll see. We'll see what I've got in store for me in the Johnny box. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Hope everyone's doing well. Promise to be coming out with more videos here when I can, and yeah, everybody take care and happy gaming.